Top 10 Disgusting Foods. 10. Kopi Luwak. There is no beating around the bush on this one. Kopi Luwak are coffee beans that come from the civet, a cat-sized mammal, poo. The animals gorge on only the finest the ripe berries, and excrete the partially digested beans, which are then harvested for sale. Kopi Luwak is the most expensive coffee in the world, selling for between $120 and $600 per pound, and is sold mainly in Japan and United States, but it is increasingly becoming available elsewhere. The beans are washed, and given only a light roast so as to not destroy the complex flavors that develop through the process. 9. Ox penis. In Western countries, ox penis is usually dried and sold as dog treats, but in many Oriental nations, they are commonly eaten by humans. The penis is generally cooked by steaming or deep frying, and can also be eaten raw. Some Westerners compare the tastes of some penises with overcooked squid. 8. Bird spit. The nests in question here are produced by a variety of swifts, specifically cave swifts who produce the nests by spitting a chemical compound that hardens in the air. The nests are considered a delicacy in China and are one of the most expensive animal products consumed by humans. It is generally served as a soup but can also be used as a sweet. When combined with water, the hard nests take on a gelatinous texture. This is one that I have eaten myself on a trip to Hong Kong, and I included it on the list of top 10 luxury foods. My experience of the nest was that it tasted slightly musty and had the texture of snot. It is probably the only pudding in my life that I could not finish. 7. Caterpillar fungus. Caterpillar fungus is a species of parasitic fungus that grows on insect larvae. The fungus invades the body of the Theterod's caterpillars, eventually killing and mummifying it. The dark brown to black fruiting body, or mushroom, emerges from the ground in spring or early summer, always growing out of the forehead of the caterpillar. The fungus is commonly used as a Chinese or Tibetan medicine, where it is used as an aphrodisiac and as a treatment for a variety of ailments, from fatigue to cancer. It is also served in soup, as you can see in the image above. 6. Rats. Rats are surprisingly common food in some parts of the world. In North Korea they are eaten because there is often little else to eat in the villages. They are generally field rats rather than the city rats that most of us are familiar with. They are described as being tough and stringy with a taste like chicken. Surprise, recently Reuters had this to say. Live rats are being trucked from central China, suffering a plague of the reported 2 billion rodents displaced by a flooded lake, to the south to end up in restaurant dishes, Chinese media reported. 5. Monkey's brains. This is disgusting primarily because of the very high risk of contracting fatal transmissible spongiform encephalopathies such as variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease and other similar brain diseases. In parts of China, the monkey's brain is eaten raw. While it is most likely an urban legend, some people claim that monkeys' brains are, or were, eaten from the head of a live monkey. Here is a common description. The monkey's head was supported by its neck in a bracket, two pieces of wood with a semicircular hole on each side such that when you put them together, they form a complete circle around the animal's neck, allowing the head to be exposed above the plank. The hair around the head is shaven with a shaving razor. A small chisel and a hammer is used to quickly chisel a circle around the crown, and the top part of the skull is removed. A teaspoon is used to scoop up the brain, which is immediately eaten. This has to be done before the monkey dies. 4. Spiders. These spiders from Sichuan and Cambodia are similar to North American tarantulas. They are bred in holes in the ground especially for eating and are deep fried. The texture is described as crispy chewy and some say it tastes similar to crab. Like tarantulas, these spiders can bite. They were a regular survival food of the Khmer Rouge. The photograph above is an actual photo of one of the spiders ready to be eaten. The taste itself is not strong, it's the crispy chewy texture that is most appealing. Make sure you have some paper napkins, as the black juice from these is greasy and it doesn't look good on your goatee. 3. Bee larvae. Bee larvae is eaten in China and Japan, where it is called hokinoko. Hikinoko became popular years ago when country people, deprived of fish and meats, turned to other wildlife in search of protein. The larvae are cooked in soy sauce and sugar and taste mildly sweet with a crumbly texture. These days, it is mainly a nostalgia item at parties. It makes a grand entrance in the festivities, and the older folks grin with expectation. The actual task of eating hikinoko, however, is not nearly so exciting. 2. Ballot, duck fetus. Ballot is a fertilized duck egg with an early developed embryo inside that is boiled and eaten in the shell. They are considered delicacies of Asia and especially the Philippines, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Popularly believed to be an aphrodisiac and considered a high-protein, hearty snack, ballot are mostly sold by street vendors at night in the regions where they are available. They are often served with beer. After you choose what kind you want, the vendor grabs them piping hot from the basket and passes you a little stool, salt, and a vinegar onion sauce. You hold the hot egg and flick carefully but forcefully at the top of it with your middle finger. It cracks a bit and you gently remove a small hole from the top, so you can sip the savory broth before removing the whole shell. I agree that the 18-day one is better than the younger ones. You might come across some small chunkies but it's usually just eaten all the way through, in about 3 mouthful bites. You can see feathers, head, wings, and skeleton forming, but it's basically an extra chewy Easter egg. Fertilized duck eggs are kept warm in the sun and stored in baskets to retain warmth. After 9 days, the eggs are held to a light to reveal the embryo inside. Approximately 8 days later the ballots are ready to be cooked, sold, and eaten. 1. Snake blood and bile. This is less a food than a medicine, but it is so disgusting that it warrants a place on the list. In central Jakarta, a man who calls himself the Cobra Man specializes in preparing blood and bile for medicinal uses. Typically, he cuts off the head and drains the blood into a glass of arak. He adds the bile and serves the drink as a treatment for respiratory ailments, skin problems, aches or indigestion. It is also said to improve a man's stamina and sex life. Drinking the blood straight from a snake can also be done as an act of bravery or manliness. In defense of the blood eaters, I should remind everyone that pig's blood is very commonly eaten in most European nations in the form of black pudding or blood sausage.